Tell them we are in the village.
Yeah,
this is the village.
this is in Kapsoya in the village.
We really
this
look
is,
like it, don't
yeah,
we?
this is
Like,
this is our land village. This is like Ushago. When we come here, this is Mashambani for us,
Yeah.
and we love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like therapy, right?
Yeah.
So
I hear people in America say that here in Kenya or in Africa, we suffer here. Like we, poverty is a lot.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you think
It's true. I would say that there is poverty here, because like I've been, the first time I came to Kenya I was in Kibera, and I've been to Mathare, and so I've seen the slums. I've seen really, really poor people, and also not so poor people in those places. But I would say that the majority of Kenyans are not poor, and they just say, Kenya, si rahisi.
Maisha
Maisha
ni ngumu.
I just have to work so hard. I'm just hustling here, and like life is so difficult. And then I'm like, and you own the house you live in.
And
you have
skuma
on your property. You're not paying rent.
Right.
Like what are we comparing ourselves to? Maybe I've compared myself to somebody.
Right.
But the reality is most Kenyans are not poor. So I think
the definition of poverty.
Yes. And we compare, like
Right.
we say we want to be like maybe
Beyonce.
like Beyonce. Yes, we want to be like somebody else who's maybe that person has more than I have.
Right.
And I've realized like that's tiring to me. Oh God, I'm so tiring to me. Like when I hear people talk like that, because I know Americans who they have a mortgage for 30 years.
Imagine 30 years with mortgage.
On top of
Right.
that, they have 2 or 3 cars
They're
paying for the cars. They're paying insurance for all of those cars.
Right.
Their children are in school.
Right.
They're paying all that. So when you say, and they're working for that. So when you say who's poor, like it really depends on what you want to say. Now you know when you are a borrower, you are a slave to the lender. So you have to pay back.
What you
or
borrow.
you'll lose everything. And many people have lost everything, and you can have paid for 15 years, but if you cannot continue paying, the bank will take your house. And in America, if you lose your home, you are really poor. Like
Right.
to survive is a whole nother story.
And in Kenya,
In Kenya,
you
if you're
own it.
poor, hey, I can walk up to you. Hey, please, Saidi, 20 bob, like just 20, please. Like just a little bit something, and people will help. There'll be people who help here and there.
Right.
You'll find.
Right.
So you can survive. The weather is conducive to surviving.
Like
So-
Kenya, really, you can stay outside and be okay.
You can be okay.
But in the States, when it's winter, you cannot live outside.
Yeah.
Like in
Here in the
Kenya,
village.
right?
Yeah.
You can have a house like this.
And survive.
Now that
Yeah.
I'm older and wiser, I can live here
Sure.
because I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna come
Yeah.
and kill me, what?
Yeah.
Then what?
And I think also, I think that we, no matter where we are in the world, we compare.
It's true.
So it's like if my house doesn't look as good as yours, then it's not good enough, or I don't have as much as you. And I think we need to get over that comparison thing, because we built our house the way we wanted to build our house. Like we liked it. Well, we've been in a home here in Kenya, and they have an elevator in their home. Now, I don't have an elevator in my home, but I'm not telling him, baby, our home isn't good enough because it doesn't have an elevator. like he wants an elevator in his home. Have an elevator in his home. I don't want one.
Yeah.
I wanted the home I have.
Yeah.
I wanted it open, the way it is. So I think, if
Be content.
yeah, if I have this and it's beautiful and I'm okay with it, be content with it.
Yeah.
Or like Kalenjins have this thing, they'll have 50,000 acres of land. They'll live in this hut and
Yeah.
they'll complain that they're poor. Yet the rest of us in this big house have 2 acres. Hey, who's rich and who's poor? Now, why are you complaining you're poor? You have 50,000 acres
Yeah.
and you're sitting on it in the corner in a hut.
Right.
Be content.
Yeah.
If that's okay with you, be happy with that.
Sure.
Yep.
If not, sell the land and build a house, dear Lord.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Or recognize that what you have is what is going to make you money.
Yeah.
or is going to be your thing. Not that you have to sell everything, you know, but it's a process, I think.
Yeah.
And here in the villages of Kenya, if you don't have salt, you can borrow it from the neighbor.
Neighbors, yeah.
Right.
Do you do that in America?
Not really, no.
Never.
No, you
I-
don't
I-
ask people for things ever.
Yes.
And money, oh God, never.
I think
If you ask, you apologize. I am so sorry. Like, please, I am so sorry. You know, tomorrow I'll have that money for you. Like tomorrow, and you will have it so early tomorrow. If you have to ask, like, you never ask for money. That's
do,
like
do you even borrow parents?
No.
Like-
And even my
so
parents.
maybe it's totally different.
Never.
Yeah, even my parents will
don't.
tell you no. Like growing up, when I had a car, you have to drive. You have to drive there because there's not public. There's some places, but where we lived, there was no public.
Yeah.
So like they would tell you, some days I'd be like, Mom, I don't have money for fuel. They're like, hey, that's okay.
You just sort
You
yourself.
work. You are working.
Right.
So don't come asking me for money.
I would say, yeah, that was a
I've never, even buying my own car, I had to buy it myself.
Yep.
I could not.
Here you can
Does
share
not-
with your parents.
Yeah, but not there.
not
There, because
In
you're
Kenya.
responsible for yourself. Like, in other words, you don't depend on them. Like, what happens is otherwise it's like they're the ones that are doing it for me.
Yeah.
But for us, by the time we're 16, we have to be working at job.
16 years?
Yeah, because you have a car now, you can drive. Like, you cannot get a job unless you drive.
Huh.
So yeah, by 16. But for us, we had a family business. So I was working from the time I was very, very young.
Yeah.
Yeah, like seven to 9, like even younger than her.
She was
We were working full time.
What do
Yeah,
you think
that's-
of working that early for kids? What do you think?
Personally, from the wisdom I've learned about money, I encourage parents to like she knows what investing is at this early age, and some things, 1 or 2 things I always tell her, okay, like sometimes helping washing dishes, that is a family thing, but if I tell her something to do like help me wash the car, I'll give her like something money, and she'll give some, she'll save some and invest some. So every time she does something, sometimes she'll get free money and she'll be happy. But I think it is a good thing to teach a child while she's young, to just know that money doesn't come free. You work for it, and when you work for it, you appreciate it, because Selena knows money. She has her own money, and she doesn't spend it all. She saves, and in our wallet she just has
She
money.
sometimes has more money than we have in our wallet at times. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
in the wallet is sometimes
there's more money there.
We've been like, Selena, do you have a 20 we pay, and then because we might have money but it's in somewhere and she has it in the wallet conveniently. So this one, and she doesn't spend it. She doesn't just go, because we've taught her that if you save, buy a better thing, it will stay longer. So I think it's good for a child.
Like my water bottle, I broke one that I got for my birthday, but then I just bought another one.
Because you had money, right? So she broke one, they gave her a gift, and it broke, and she decided to buy a better one. And she bought it.
Good one.
Yeah. So
But I think to answer that question, I feel like I would say like we have rules, like laws in the States as far as like how young a person can work. But if it's family, that's a different story. Like I would work for our family, so I could work for them at a young age. But I don't, like, for me, what I would say is it was going somewhere. It was producing a result. Like I was not responsible for the family to feed the family.
right.
I was just helping with the business. I feel like my personal opinion or thoughts is that Kenyan children here tend to be responsible to feed the family. Like a mom and dad almost expect the child who's 6 and 7, who have no ability to actually think
Work.
that way,
Right.
to take care of the family. And then they don't have school fees, and then they're like, oh, how am I going to get to school? And then they become responsible for things they should never be responsible for. Some of it, yes, can be started from poverty, but I believe it's a poverty mentality, because most of the people that we know that are around actually could because it's kind of like school. It's not a surprise. We know every when school comes, you know, it's not like a surprise, like, or like planting season. It's not a surprise. We know when planting season is.
Right.
So what we tend to do is we don't plan.
Right.
You know, and I think also something that I can say is, I wouldn't say even that my parents really taught me well on money, although I would say we at least were taught some things.
Right.
But for him and I, he is very, like, he loves that's something he really loves. He's very interested in that. So we studied. For us, we studied about it. Like, how we looked at people who were well off, and we said, what did they do? What are they doing? You know, because I think some of it is we maybe become jealous of somebody who has, instead of realizing, oh,
I can also
what did they do?
Yeah.
What did they do to get there? So I love Kenya, so I say this with a good heart and understand this. But I believe that if we want to see a change, like, because you'll see very many wealthy Kenyans, you'll see them, they've done well and they're doing well, right? But then you see some are kind of staying in this cycle, and there's still this cycle, and you're like, the grandparents, the parents, and the children, and it's just continuing. And I believe that unless we change that cycle, like, and a lot of it, it'll just continue.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I believe, is a mentality. It's more than
mindset.
yeah, or like, I feel jealous of somebody who has more, and I will not rejoice in them, because that's the problem. One of the biggest problems that I see here is no one wants to rejoice in someone who does better.
Yeah.
And if you suddenly become better, they try to push you down. And I think there's a verse in I'm not sure exactly where it is, but it talks. I think it's in Proverbs, but it talks specifically about that. It says, "When will you stop asking for help?
Yeah.
And when will you rejoice in someone else's success?" And that was something that struck me. I'm like, oh my God, there's an exact Bible verse that talks about this. Like, God cannot succeed you if you cannot rejoice in somebody who has something more than you do. And I believe that if you desire to get better, then you have to see somebody, then God will bring people into your life that are doing better. And then you need to look at that person, rejoice, and find out what they have done. And work towards it. Because but I would say, like, you know, in America we have this thing, independence. We have to you're like we are responsible for ourselves, not anybody else. So if we don't survive, that's on us. If we're struggling, if we're that's on us. No one else. They'll look at you like, what is wrong with them? Hey, where are they going? Hey, those poor people, don't come to me. And in fact, they'll be like, no, we're
even
so
if
busy.
It's a family, like direct family.
Yeah, especially family.
Hey.
Now
So you suffer alone.
Yeah, you have to suffer alone.
Or the
because
government, or if
you have a
like
job.
If,
So what are you doing? You have the job, you make the same money, so what are you doing now here? If you cannot pay your bills, then you
like
need
if
to
you
find
are
someone
homeless,
to
like
help you.
if you lose your home, you have to live like in a shelter. Like a government.
Yeah.
You
And
don't go to family.
No,
unless if you go to family, it's for.
It's
I'm
a very
coming
special
here,
family.
And
Maybe my family is unique.
Right.
My family is very unique.
Right.
Maybe. We've housed many people, but we are very the exception.
Right.
And at some point we kick you out. Like, you
need to
go.
Go survive.
Even you're sitting here like you're a bump on a log and you're not doing anything. So, like, really, we don't want that, because that's what happens. We become like, we think like dependent on people. Like, we think everybody owes us things. So, there's
So it's
that.
different with you, because you're in a family. If one son is doing well, you have to take care of others.
Right.
Yeah,
Otherwise
but
they bring you down.
But for you, but also if the thing though that I've seen with that is there's a balance between taking care of somebody and allowing them to become a burden to the whole family. Because you can become. So I think, So there's a lot of good things in this country, and I love this country. But
there's good and bad.
Just
You don't have to agree on everything.
we're believing for very many good things.
So to do the home,
Yep.
Well, mice do. And I did see a mouse at on the Ethan's house.
Okay. Yeah. Are we supposed to wave bye?
Yes,
Subscribe to Miss Rachel.
Yes. And subscribe to African Desi channel.
Subscribe to the Kenyan American truck. My friend Mutuyamu iko mambo pande hiyo.
And subscribe.
And subscribe to Two Beans channel.
Yay!